It's absolutely the most incredible, nurturing, supportive working environment I can imagine.
My relationship with my wife is just like blooming, and it's extremely intense, and that's something that is directly a result of what happened here.
The most surprising aspect of coming to the Option Institute for me has been the change at a deep level in myself.
At the Option Institute, I believe we teach the best kept secret on the planet.
I couldn't have imagined 3-4 short years ago that I would have made the changes that I've made now and continue to make.
Oh, I'm grateful to the Option Institute for so many things. I mean, I'm in a relationship with my husband. It's been 12 years and I'm still madly in love with him.
People can change. It doesn't matter what the age is. If they're open enough to want to change, they can do that. And it's not a big effort, it's a choice. And I think that's the beauty of what the Option Institute does, is to teach people that.
If someone wasn't sure about coming to the Option Institute for any program, whether it's a 1-week or a weekend or even an 8-week program, I'd say do it. It is the best investment you can ever make.
I was initially drawn here to deal with a diagnosis of cancer when I was 33 years old. Not only did what I learned help me to really effectively handle and bring about a healing process for myself, but the benefits were so impactful in terms of my marriage. My husband began to be interested in learning it and started to see amazing results, and ultimately bled over into our parenting and the way we began to raise our children.
What I picked up so strongly is that we can carry these things on with us for the rest of our life, and that's the beauty of it.
Change your vision, change your attitude, you change your life, and you change your whole life experience as well. We have been teaching people something notoriously simple, that whether you've been diagnosed with cancer, whether you're the parents of a special needs child, whether you're having financial difficulties, marital problems, whether you're dealing with children who are not behaving the way that you would like them to behave, in all those circumstances, you could make happiness a choice. And you could do it in every other circumstance. And you could learn and educate yourself to choose happiness or peace of mind or inner ease in all circumstances with enormous, enormous benefits and dividends.
I've been married for 35 years, and I married my husband because he was a psychiatrist and because I thought I needed one. So we had this perfect relationship where I was like moody and crazy and depressing, and he was strong and there for me. And it was very wearing, I have to say, not only on my husband but on my family. And when I came back from the Option Institute, people couldn't believe that I was the same person. My brother and my sister were astonished, and my husband was very, very grateful, because I was like so explosive before. Anything could set me off, and I really became a very easygoing, stable, a word you would never have heard in my household in all of my life, accepting, loving person. And that, I think, is the biggest miracle, and everyone I know recognizes it.
I think that in life, all of us are trying to answer one single question. The question is, and it underlies, whether the stock market goes up or down, whether our lover says, I'm going to be gentle and sweet to you tonight, or I'm going to brush you off, whether our boss says, I'm going to give you a raise or diminish your salary, whether our children, if you have children, compliment you in the morning or curse you in the morning. There's one question that's always occurring. Is this good for me, or is this bad for me? And if the answer is, bottom line, this is bad for me, what comes from that is a sense of despair, distress, and discomfort. If we answer the question, this is good for me, or at least an opportunity, then what comes from that is a sense of hopefulness, sense of possibility, sense of joy even, and a sense of adventure.
We want people to learn the tools and learn perspectives and ideas and about their own belief systems so that they have the power in their own hands to create themselves in the way that they have really always wanted to, but never have believed they could. We see it on a daily basis. People absolutely doing this for themselves.
I can never be a victim. I mean, victim to me, there's no such word anymore. Circumstances and things that happen outside of me can no longer affect me unless I want them to. I mean, they're just happening, and it's just how I look at them and take it back to myself. That's a huge learning for me, huge. I myself was thinking about taking a vacation to Europe, and I thought, gosh, you know, I can go to Europe, which is something I've always wanted to do, but then when I come back, I'm still going to be me. I mean, I'm still going to be stuck with this feeling that I'm not good enough. I'm not real happy with my life. You know, it'll be a real transient thing. And just coming here for the 1-week program in April and then also for this 8-week program, I think has totally changed my outlook on life. I mean, I think I can go anywhere and do anything.
We're on an 85-acre campus on the side of a mountain here in western Massachusetts. The property, I feel, oftentimes reflects the ambience of what we're teaching.
We actually looked for 6 years in many different states to find the environment. We wanted to find the environment that reflected the beauty of the process.
Oftentimes people come on the property before they even get into one of the rooms where we're going to do a program. They say, I feel different. Something has changed. It's therapeutic. It's inspiring.
Oh, the grounds of the Option Institute. My most exciting place and my most reverent place is down near the pond. You sit there, look up through the evergreens. It looks just like a lace canopy.
I used to live in a beautiful area in Germany, but it's not just the area. I didn't want to change the area. I wanted to change the system of my life. And ever since I read about the work that was done here, I got excited. And when I entered this property, sure, I wanted to live here. And I still think that I live in a paradise.
Your philosophy, or what you want us to realize, and you said to me, there's so much pain, people are so focused on misery. You are saying that if we don't have to be that way, we can focus on happiness. You will show us how to do this. We need a path to figure this out.
Apparently, because I think in our culture, most of us have been systematically taught to use unhappiness to motivate ourselves, like to stay on diet, to stop smoking, to rear our children. We've also been taught to use unhappiness as a way to demonstrate our caring. But what we haven't seen is that unhappiness is incredibly lethal, in the sense that when we turn it inside of ourselves, it looks like heart disease, hypertension. When we turn it outside of ourselves, it looks like drive-by shootings, rape, child molestation. When we do it collectively as a group of people, that's war. And we see that all over the planet. We've had the blessing to have people come to our institute with all sorts of different challenges, and I watch things happen. For example, a man came clinically depressed for 10 years because his biochemistry was imbalanced, and he was on a medication called Prozac, but he wanted to be off the drugs. And as a result of working with us and changing his point of view, his depression not only lifted, but his biochemistry changed.
Before the Option Institute, there was a period of about 10 years where I was, I guess you would call, depressed, burnt out. Life was always a struggle. It was always difficult. It got increasingly more difficult when I got divorced. So there I was at, I think I was 41 or something like that when I learned about the Option Institute. And no relationship. My kids didn't want to be around me. They told me they loved me on Christmas and my birthday, whether I deserved it or not. It was as if, I think of the Peggy Lee song, Is That All There Is? If they were going to make an MTV video of my life, it would be a ceiling shot with me in the fetal position in my bed and Peggy Lee singing in the background. Is that all there is? And I just didn't know where to go, and a friend of mine gave me a copy of Barry Neil Kaufman's To Love Is to Be Happy With. And I read it. It made so much sense.
My books, which are 9 of them, have been translated into about 18 different languages. So people tell me they go into the remotest part of Africa, and suddenly on a table they'll see Happiness as a Choice, or To Love Is to Be Happy With, or they'll see Sunrise, The Miracle Continues, or one of the other books. As a result, people come here from all around the world. And my awareness is that this is sort of a sanctuary, a home. Maybe it's the only sanctuary, home, and educational facility on the planet right now that full-time is teaching happiness, that's teaching love.
I came to the Option Institute and did a 1-week program. In the middle of that 1 week, I felt more excited, more alive, more happy than I'd ever felt in my whole life. And as I say that now and my voice cracks, it's with the deepest sense of gratitude that I say, wow, if it hadn't been for what I learned at the Option Institute, if it hadn't been for the Kaufmans doing what they did with their life, I never would have found this. As a result of doing that program and then subsequently doing the 8-week program, I haven't been on antidepressants for over 4 years. I'm more alive, more vibrant, more passionate with my life than I've ever been. My relationship with my sons has never been better. As a matter of fact, my relationship with my ex-wife has never been better. And I owe that all to my experience here at the Institute.
Who comes here? There's a whole host of people that come here for a variety of reasons. It's a whole cross-section of people. Indeed, not only cross-section of people, but people from around the world. So people from Malaysia, France, Germany, the Philippines, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia. And so it's a little bit of a microcosm of the universe of people that come from with completely different beliefs, with completely different religious affiliations. But they're joined together with one intention, which is, how do I make my life work more easily for myself? How do I make my life work more successfully for myself?
I'm a lawyer in my day job.
I was a businessman in Manhattan.
I've been with a corporation for 36 years.
And I think, like a lot of lawyers, what I've tended to do is get very, very busy, and I'm always doing 2 things or 3 things at one time.
I got to the point where I was having anxiety attacks probably once every hour. I started seeing a therapist. Didn't do much good.
I was living out of my head rather than out of my heart. And that was very bothersome to me.
I realize in how much more I've experienced with people here from being focused and being present, that I probably missed a lot in the people I've been dealing with for the last 20 years as clients and colleagues and coworkers.
A friend of mine recommended Happiness as a Choice to me, and I read it and I was completely blown away by what was in there. And I decided I have to check this place out. I came to an introductory weekend, and after that weekend, the first night back, I slept like a baby.
I did the 8-week program in 2 sessions. My wife has been here for a number of programs and has done half the 8-week Living the Dream program. And we both found it to be very beneficial to us in the sense of gaining personal freedom, asking questions of ourselves, questioning beliefs, which I think is really one of the most important precepts of the whole thing, is why do you do things? You do them because you've always done them or you're used to it. And it doesn't have to be that way. You can always change.
I used to believe, so the person you're seeing right now and hearing really changed himself. I used to believe that the goodness and badness, the answers to that question, was out there, not inside here. And I think of all the experiences that I had through my life, maybe the one that earmarked it for me, that it was my responsibility and it wasn't out there, was the experience we once had with our special son.
He hears sounds, engines, music, people talking, dogs barking. It's all the same. He can't tell the difference.
You may remember the scene from that movie. It was a movie that was made in the early 80s. It was called Sunrise, and it was written by the parents of the child whose story it tells. He had autism, and they, unbelievably to some people, healed him out of that autism. The father of that young child is here with us today. His name is Barry Neal Kaufman. For those who may not remember the story, what exactly happened with your little boy, Ron? He was diagnosed with autism.
Yes, absolutely. 19 years ago, I think we got the ultimate wake-up call. Our little boy was diagnosed not only as severely autistic, but neurologically impaired, also mentally retarded with an under 30 IQ. If there were 3 words that rang out clearly over and over again from the professionals, they were hopeless, incurable, irreversible.
I did not feel that this was a tragedy in my life, to have a son that was extraordinarily different, that was, seemed to be someone that I had characteristics that I had never seen in my life, someone that I couldn't have a conversation with, someone that didn't respond to me, didn't even give me a glance at any moment. I saw this little boy as the most special human being that was ever put in front of my eyes. And all because we had learned to see ourselves very differently than had Ron, our son, been born even 3 years previous to that time.
We worked with him 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for 3.5 years. And at the end of that period of time, he emerged completely from this so-called hopeless and irreversible condition. Originally tested to have an under 30 IQ, later tested to have a near genius IQ. That young man graduated cum laude high honors society from high school, an almost straight A student. Today he is attending one of the top universities in the United States, and he is a real big talker on the debating team. Thank you. His story, but maybe his lesson, the essence of it is what we teach people here. No matter what you're facing, no matter what the circumstance, the key to it is our attitude and our perspective. And our attitude and perspective is flexible, malleable. We can re-educate ourselves.
I had a slip disc and got a prognosis saying that my muscles were bound to atrophy. I was going to have, my discs were going to fuse together, that I was so limited in so many ways, just that I had to give up my horseback riding. I had to give up all of the sports that I did. I had to prepare myself for a future where I would not, I mean, they told me I couldn't lift groceries, that if I decided to get pregnant, that I'd have to spend that time in bed. I had a full body brace for part of that time. I had a lot of drugs that I could take for the pain. My mother told me about the Option Institute, and that's where things started to get so much better, because someone said to me, look, Laura, this does not have to be a tragedy. I had never even thought of that as a concept before, that I could decide how I wanted to feel about it, that I didn't have to feel miserable. And so that was the step that happened for me. I decided to come out here and check it out for myself. And within 6 months, I was completely pain-free. And since then, I'm completely back to myself, and I have to say better than how I was before, because in some ways it wasn't a tragedy, it was a gift that happened to me, because so many things have been so much better now that I've learned what I've learned.
I think the quality of the teaching personnel and the staff at the Option Institute is superb.
In my work, working with executives in training in lots of corporations in this country and other countries, I've had the really unique opportunity to see how trainings go, how various experiences are designed and facilitated. When I came to the Option Institute, I saw something that was just of a higher quality.
One of the things I'm impressed by is the way the teaching staff goes the extra mile. They don't just have a class schedule for the day or teaching plan and they go and deliver it and go off and have coffee. I'm aware that sometimes the teachers sit up late at night digesting what happened that day in the classroom, fine-tuning what's to happen the next day, perfectly for that class so they can get the most out of it.
A lot of people come through our entranceway here. Some of them are feeling good, want to improve the quality of their lives. Some of them are facing great challenges. And when they walk through, I think the first thing that we're trying to present to them and model to them is what we teach. So for us and the staff, We do a lot of work on ourselves continuously, really so we can embrace people and greet people openly, without judgments, with total acceptance. And maybe the most important word, loving them.
Working here, we get the opportunity to help people make such profound changes in their relationships, to deal with lifelong difficulties or conflicts or problems. And the whole process of doing that is so enriching for us as the teaching staff, but it just becomes such an energizing, remarkable way to be with people.
I was tired of all the different philosophies and all the theories that I had learned in social work, and I wanted something different. And when I came here to the Institute, I knew that this was it, that this was a way that I really wanted to work with people.
We see it happen week after week after week as people literally move mountains of depression or fear or anger or pain in themselves through the experience of being here.
If you can imagine working somewhere where every day you see miracles occur in people's lives, I mean, it's like the perfect job.
I love being here, and I've found that one of the criteria for being a teacher here is that you have to have used this process yourself in your own life. So I find that now when I talk to people, I can talk to them from a different perspective, because I'm not just preaching to them about this certain philosophy. I've had my own challenges, and I've really used this to turn my life around. I had found out a few years earlier that I had a fairly common heart condition called tachycardia, except in my case, the symptoms were so much more severe than usual. The doctors had made it very clear to me that there was nothing I could do to have an impact on this. Maybe I could take medication, maybe I could have some kind of risky operation, but I couldn't do anything that would make a difference. And then I came here and I had the opportunity to take the 8-week Living the Dream program. It was so amazing. And it completely, I feel, altered the course of the rest of my life. Because through the program, I learned so many different things about how I thought and the things that I felt, and how what I thought and felt affected my life and my body. And now I can walk on the treadmill for 40 minutes. I just in the last year, I've lost 30 pounds, and I just feel so good. And I feel that that program completely changed my life in such a powerful way.
The core of what we address has to do with helping people understand the power of their beliefs. That beliefs are taught to us, adopted, empowered by us, but they are changeable. That's the key. They're changeable.
When my daughter and I attended a program here, Inward Bound, last spring, we were driving home across the country back to Colorado. And we started out here from the Institute probably about 9 o'clock in the morning. And about 9:30 in the morning, she said, "Mom," she said, "what would you say if we decided that from now on we were going to be totally authentic with one another?" She says, "So how would you like to play the game called Truth or Dare?" And so she said to me, she said, did you like having sex with Dad?" And I went, "Oh!" I said, "This is something we never talked about. We never talked about sex, anything like that, certainly. Not even, really, really deep subjects like sex." So I told her, well, I said, I really did enjoy it. I said, in fact, I really loved it. And I said, now is it my turn to ask you a question? And she said, yes. And I said, well, I remember when you went away to college, you told me that one of these days when I got old enough, you were going to let me know what you did when you were in college. I said, and I think now's the time. I'd really like to hear. So as we were traveling across the country, we just shared really with one another on the deepest level that we ever have. And since that time, my daughter's relationship and mine has become such that, wow, I consider her my very best friend.
I'll tell you what happened when I left here after a 5-day program. I went home and I said to my daughter, who was getting ready to apply for colleges, I don't really care if you go to college or if you start your own business or get a job. The only thing I care about in terms of your education is that you go to the 8-week program at the Option Institute. The rest of it doesn't matter. If you get that, if you learn how to choose happiness, if you learn how to understand yourself on that level, then whatever you do is going to be fine. And that's the only time I've really given her a lot of direction was, I really want you to do this. And she said she's going to. She'll be here next summer.
What's really been wonderful for us is to have the opportunity not only to teach this process, but to create many different programs to teach it. Let me give you an example of some. We have a program called Empowering Yourself, which is teaching people how to go for and get what they want. In other words, teaching them to be strong, teaching them to be self-trusting and self-accepting as they move through their lives, whether it's relationships, families, careers. We have another program completely different. The core is the same. How to be happy, how to be loving, how to be self-accepting, how to be self-loving, called Inward Bound. Now that program is one that's dominated by what we call active meditative process, which is really learning to go inside of ourselves, becoming contemplative, but also asking in very provocative, fun ways, two essential questions. Who am I? And what is my purpose in this life? We have another program that's completely different called Happiness is a Choice. And Happiness is a Choice is actually taken off my book called Happiness is a Choice. And it teaches people how to immediately empower the moment of choice so that they can put themselves in a happier, more comfortable state of mind. So we use literally throughout the program the idea of becoming more present, becoming more authentic, prioritizing happiness in our lives, learning to drop judgments when they come. So that's a wonderful dynamic program in which to do it. Another program that we have is called Loving You, Loving Me. It's a program for couples. Sometimes we offer it as a weekend program, sometimes a week-long program. That's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful opportunity now to teach couples together, people who are in partnership, whatever those partnerships might be, how to really not only share this kind of openness and ease with each other, but how to support each other in the process as well.
About 2 years ago, I came to my very first program at the Option Institute. Since then, I've been to 6. It was a very powerful, moving experience for me the first time, even though it was only a weekend. I had so many fears I knew of, but I had even more that I didn't know of. And they were keeping me from being approachable. They were keeping me from loving myself and loving other people.
Like, I've been to a lot of seminars. I'm a doctor, and I go to a lot of seminars. And a lot of seminars I've gone to are pump-ups, and then you go home and fall back into the patterns. And here, what I've gotten are, it's not even tools for me. It's part of me now. And that there's no thought about that it's not going to be there when I go home. Mm-hmm. It's a part of me. And I'm just happy to see, you in your way of being free and not having all the blocks that you had in the past to just be your own self. And that's beautiful. Yeah.
There is a perspective that's really important for us to understand in our lives. What we focus attention on, we make bigger. In essence, if we took a barbell and we start doing this with our arm, we're going to grow our bicep bigger. Well, I think in our brain, we've learned to grow anger bigger, hostility bigger, fear bigger. What we're trying to do is teach us now to focus on love and on happiness and on communion with ourselves, with others, and with God, and grow that bigger. And I hope that we're teaching people how to see the part of the universe that's right here, right now, that is amazing, that's inspiring, that's hopeful, and from which we could find an incredible sense of self, incredible sense of understanding, an incredible sense of communion with all that's around us.
Whenever I hear somebody say anything that they can't do, my ears perk up. And there's this like force in me that wants to shake them and say, yes, you can.
We're constantly having tears in our eyes, and we're constantly crying after we talk to people, and we're hugging each other, and we're saying, I can't believe this is what we do. It's a miracle.
And now I'm asking myself at the age of 59, what do I want to be when I grow up? And it just feels totally wonderful. What do I want to be when I grow up? I can be anything. I can be anything that I want.
Our staff would be delighted to talk with you on the phone about our workshops and programs. Please call us anytime during office hours to set up a phone appointment. We also invite you to come to the Institute for a guided tour. If you would like a brochure describing our programs and a catalog of books and tapes, simply write or call us, and we would be happy to send them to you.